Welcome to ChiroSecure's Empowering Women in Chiropractic, the Facebook Live show for successful women by successful women, proving once again women make it happen. Join us each week as we bring you the best in business growth, practice management, social media marketing, networking, leadership, and lots more. If it's about women in practice and business, you'll hear it here. Now, join today's host, Dr. Nathalie Beauchamp, as she talks impact, exposure, and systems. And now, here's Dr. Nathalie.
Hello, this is Dr. Nathalie Beauchamp. Welcome to today's show for Empowering Women in Chiropractic. I'd like to start by saying a huge thank you to ChiroSecure for putting those together. I know I always get a lot of great value listening to all the doctors and the expert that they bring on. So I thought that for today, I would talk about fresh ideas to reactivate and reconnect with patients. So I want to share what I've been doing in my practice in the last few months, and hopefully make you think, because I think times right now are of great reflection, and I think we've had a bit of time to slow down and pause and ask ourselves what I would say are the right questions. So the first thing that I'd like to cover is our mindset. And sometime when we have time to slow down, it allows us to assess where we're at. And I know that I personally did a lot of that. And these are the things that I'd like to go over. So when this pandemic happened, I know that it gave me the time to sit down and look at, first of all of my expenses. And when you've been in practice for a long time, you may feel the same as I do, that, things just pile up, and, a few dollars here and a few dollars there. And next thing you know, you have all those added expenses. So, sat down with my bookkeeper. We went through all of our expenses for the clinic, for marketing. It was a great way to say, okay, do we really need this at this point, and so forth. So felt really good that I really dialed down my expenses. And then really took the time to ask myself, what do I want right now? And some of you may be in practice for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 24 years like me. And I always feel that I'm need to reinvent my practice ever so often. So at this time in my life, it allowed me to reflect of what I really wanted right now, and how I wanted to mold my practice. So I reviewed my clinic mission, vision, and value statement, and I was happy to see that everything was still strong and congruent, but I did tweak a few things, because my practice in recent years has morphed a little bit more on the neuro aspect. And then when I looked at my mission statement, I was in portraying that. So I did a bit of a cleanup in this. Then I attacked the clinic processes to see what serves us now compared to what was relevant, because with technology, with staff changes, sometimes you just keep going with a way of doing things, and there might be more efficient things to do. We had, just even prior to that, started redoing the website. So I really tackled my website, which I've had for a long time, and saying, okay, if somebody brand new gets to my website, am I telling them what they need to know? Where are they coming from a symptom point of view, and so forth? So I really was able to, what I think, craft a proper message, a more relevant message, from the book, Your Story Brand. I use a lot of their content and really reflected on who I wanted to attract to the practice and what did the website look like. Because I always joke, let's say with posters at the clinic, you keep adding, and then after a while you look like you know, it's a flea market of all kind of things. Well, the same thing can happen to your website. So not fully launched yet, but I do feel really good about taking that action. And then re-engaging with the team. We have more time currently to clean things up and then re-engage the staff to make sure you know, that they're excited about being at the office, and also leveraging their strengths and cross-training them. So I think that had good value. Also reviewed our technology because there's so much more available now to us that we would be missing out on not using technology. So what I mean by this is my forms at the clinic are all on jot forms. So I reviewed all my forms, and then that allows me to see, oh, am I asking questions that make sense in the sequence? And some of them, like I said, when you've been in practice for a long time, there's a little bit of disconnect. So jot form being one of them. Other technology like campaigns into my Infusionsoft online booking. You know, I already had an online booking service, but was able to beef it up and leverage it more efficiently. And then how else you could build value for your patients. And, you know, and on my last few slides, I'll share with you what I have done in my practice. But because I'm a book author, I have tons of content, and it always irks me when I have a patient that doesn't have a copy of my book. I'm like, really? Like, seriously? It's a 600-page book, and I, you know, have so much great information. But what it is that, you know, you almost need to tailor it to this person's need. So I'm all about creating educational funnel that are specific to the person with the issue that they have. So for some people, it might be weight loss. So some people, it might be energy. For some people, it might be gut. So before all this, I had created 8 different campaigns with great email dripping campaigns. So was able to ingrain this more into our system. And the other thing too is, how can we show up as a better leader in our community? One thing that I've done, and I'm going to talk about that as well, is went back to doing more webinars. Webinars were kind of thing of the past, and now that people are more online, webinars are coming back, and I think they're going to be here to stay, and it's a great way to connect with people. So I've done webinars for school teachers about 3 best strategy to stay healthy, and that allowed me to promote my book and sell books, but also to connect with brand new people. And because one of my patients knew that I did webinar and wanted to do that for the teacher. So how can you show up? It could be with other practitioner in your area, and I'll give you some ideas as well on this. So the second point that I'd like to cover, and just again from personal experience, is personal touches right now are a game changer. And I think that, you know, maybe when this all happened, we kind of all retrieve and we didn't know quite what to do. So, you know, even if you haven't stayed connected as good as you would have liked with your patient, it's never too late. But I think it's really important that we show that we care. So I know when this all came down, I literally picked up the phone and call patient to let them know that we were available for emergency and acute care, and, you know, if they needed it, and then kind of had a bit of a conversation with them. Okay, don't forget to do this, don't forget to do that. And I have to say, first of all, everybody was home. So, you know, you didn't leave phone messages, and everybody was so thankful that I did that. Now, I didn't do that for all of my patients, but more my patients that are regular and on care plan and so forth. What it does, it really allows you to stand out and build relationship. I was talking to a friend of mine who lives in the same city but other area of town, and he was saying that He was really disappointed the way his physical therapist handled the whole situation, not staying connected. I was personally disappointed on how my accountant handled all of this. I really felt left out. I had questions and all of, the stuff happening from a financial point of view with that. So I think doesn't matter the profession. I think just staying connected and say, hey, I'm here for you. Hopefully you're doing well. And then now what I'm doing is literally handwriting recall cards. It's got a nice set of hands on the top and time for an adjustment. And I'm literally writing a personal note that I'm looking forward to seeing them in the office. So that's also a way to do it. And people don't get mail anymore. So I've been doing birthday card forever. I've never stopped. And people always say, Nathalie, it's nice to have not just bill in the mail, but have something of value. So I've done those recall cards and people are loving them. And another big thing that I've done, as I mentioned earlier, are webinars. So what I did is general webinar. I literally just a few minutes ago finished one on, I called it body defense and focusing on building a strong body and a resilient body. I've done one on detoxification and cleanse. And I sent out a survey. So I said, hey guys, here are 10 topics that I think you would be interested in hearing more about. And then I used SurveyMonkey and had them vote. And surprisingly enough, the immune part was, pretty high, actually was the top one. So I called it the body defense system and how to keep it strong. I really focus, like I said, not so much on the disease part, but keeping the body strong. So it's an awesome way. What's funny now too is that even grandma knows about Zoom. So there's paid Zoom. I think it's $40 a month for hosting webinar. I'm personally using Webinar Jam because it has an email sequencing sent to people for reminder and so forth. It's a little bit more costly. And the good thing too with Zoom is that if you don't want to continue, you can downgrade your membership. So I think people now really know what Zoom is and how accessible it is. And this is a great way for us to deliver value. The next point that I'd like to cover are some of the tools that I've used to leverage what I have and engage and stay connected with a patient. And again, I'm really cognizant that, we're all in different kind of areas of the country. We have different limitation and so forth. But at the end of the day, just coming across as somebody who cares and wants to give value from a lifestyle point of view and a well-being point of view, I think is key and easy enough to do. So I think the first thing, again, this is what I did, is I did an inventory of, okay, what are the resources that I have? And maybe I don't even talk about it. My patient may not even know that I have that. They've never seen it. So I've come up with, I took those giant sticky in my room and just brainstormed by myself on the list of things that I have that I believe can be of value to someone. I've done a ergonomic course, and I had access to a whole bunch of great information for them how to set their work station, because now everybody's working at home from their kitchen table. The mid backs are on fire, and they're, it's a stressful time for a lot of people. Same thing with some more postural exercises. So whatever you have access to, how can you package it to solve a problem? And ergonomic definitely was a big one. Stress is a big one. Sleep is a big one. So how can you focus on those specific topics? So I'm going to give you a few ideas of what I've done, and hopefully that will trigger some sparks in your head to say, oh, I have something similar. Maybe I could do that and leverage that. And at the end, I'm going to give you my email. If you have any questions on the strategies that I implemented, I'm just giving you a big overview. You can reach out to me, no problem. So the first thing that I did, an inventory of a questionnaire that I had to assess people's need for vitamins and supplements, something that I've had for, 5 or 6 years. I still use it in practice, but I'm like, okay, a lots of people don't know that I have that. So I sent a link to people and say, do this survey. We'll go over the results kind of together. And I say kind of together because I have a prescription of the recommendation, and the survey is quite extensive. And I did that with my patients. So I knew who I was dealing with. And then I had access to an online shopping cart where people could purchase and have it deliver right to their door. So many things are changing right now, and patient and customer behaviors are changing, and we need to adapt. Some is, very advantageous for different part of what we do. But I tell you, patients love the fact that the vitamins could be delivered straight to their door. So that's something that I leverage. The other thing I mentioned are the webinars. I've always loved doing webinars, and I had even myself stop, did podcast and all of that stuff. But going back to webinars is awesome. You can really interact. Like I said, I just finished one and I see the names of my patient. You can say hi, they can put questions in. There's that interaction, and there's also that level of commitment when people sign up for a webinar, and then you can send them the replay link. So that was my first one, the top 3 strategy you can implement now for better health. And as you can see, keeping it very broad, and I'm not, even talking about what's going on really. And this is a type of presentation that we could have done 6 months ago and would have been very valuable. The other cool thing that I came across is a app, and I've had an app at some point, but I've always wanted to have an app that was strong on nutrition, strong on the physical aspect, but never really found one that I liked other than one that I would have to populate everything. So came across this great app from one of the nutraceutical company. They're both in Canada and the US. And the app is free for patients. And they have tons of different programs. So I chose a detox and a cleanse. I chose the clean eating program for 28 days. I mean, the sky's the limit what you can do, and it's free. It gives them workouts. That was me adding the workout, but it gives them meal plan, recipe, shopping list. I mean, patients just love it, and you can select different plans. They can purchase the vitamin through the app, but they don't have to. But at least they know what you would recommend, and then once let's say 28 day is done, you can recommend other things. It's very interactive. I have to say that I'm super impressed with what they've done. So again, if you have any questions, just reach out to me. Another thing too that I have done just before all of this, so as you can see, the date was late February. I've organized an in-person expo for 12 years, stopped 1 year when I published my book, and then last year I did a virtual one. So I had 16 speakers, people in my community, so naturopath trainers, all the people I had built relationship with in the past years. So it was great to, continue that relationship. And then we had sponsors with products that are relevant to the natural health world. I had another chiropractor friend on there, and it was cool to have another chiropractor educate your own patients. So I'm definitely doing this one again. It was just a blast. We had over 2,300 people. We created a private Facebook group. It was brilliant. But then, the pandemic just happened. So I can't say for sure the repercussion on driving people to the practice just because of what's happened. But maybe this is something that'd be valuable for you to organize a virtual expo or a virtual summit, for the fall, and re-engage people, the other practitioners in your community that have had struggle, the companies that you usually purchase from, that it is, deodorant or cleaning products and all of that stuff. So there's great, I think, connection that can be made, and people are even more receptive to receiving information online. And another thing that I did, because I am a book author, I co-hosted webinars with other chiropractors, different area. So I did everything. I did the webinar, the slides. They just literally showed up, ordered a case of my book for their patient if they wanted to purchase, and we co-hosted the presentation, if you want, and I took care of the graphics for the marketing and so forth. And I've done a few now, and it is so much fun to be able to chat with a colleague, raise each other up. And like I said, for me, because I have a book, the content is there. But, and then you're more than welcome to leverage me if you want, or if you have other friends that are chiropractor that have a book, why not do a webinar and have them educate your patient? Just like kids, right? We tell our kids to do something and they don't listen to us parents, but when it comes from somebody else, it's just that confirmation. And I think this is something that we don't do enough in our profession, is leverage each other's passion and expertise. So I went on for a good 20 minutes of giving you insight of the stuff that I have done. But I think at the end of the day, what this time is bringing to us is a major time for reflection. And I hope that you've taken some time to reflect and rest and recharge. And we all need to see this, as it's hard sometimes to see something good coming out of this, but we need to understand that we were given this time and we might as well use it wisely to ask the questions, where do you want to go from now? What's the next step? And, I know for me, in the last few months, it went like this, but now I feel like I'm in a better position, and I'm happy to re-energize my practice and clean it up and experience with other things. So I'm going to leave you with this quote here, which I thought was pretty appropriate. Leadership is not a position or a title. It's an action and an example. And it's a great reminder for us chiropractor to talk about what we love, which is the chiropractic lifestyle. I saw a post, I think this morning on Facebook, and as a chiropractor, and I just love what he had to say, that let's not focus our energy on bashing everything else, even though it's hard not to. Is let's show up as leader and show people the way and empower them to take control of their health. And let's move forward into positioning ourselves as leader as best as we can, in the realm of what we can or can't say. But I think there's a way to still lead and help people take control of their health. So hopefully you got some good insight from what I just discussed. This is my email, drnathalie@drnataliebeauchamp.com. Fire me out an email if you have any questions on some of the strategies that I've implemented. If you want to pick my brain, I think, if you can show your patients that you're still working in the background of building more value and you're always staying at the cutting edge to help them, it goes a long way for your practice and really building those relationships. So this was Dr. Nathalie Beauchamp. Again, thank you to ChiroSecure for putting the show Empowering Women in Chiropractic. I think it is a brilliant way for us to stay connected. So until next time.
Join us each week as we bring you the best in business growth, practice management, social media marketing, networking, leadership, and lots more. If it's about women in practice and business, you'll hear it here. We hope you enjoyed this week's Facebook Live event. Please like us on Facebook, comment, and share. We look forward to seeing all of you next week for another episode of Empowering Women in Chiropractic. Now, go ahead and hit the share button and tell your friends and colleagues about the show. Thank you for watching. Have a beautiful day. This has been a ChiroSecure production.